So look, we remained under a court order to lift Title 42. That is a court order. That is a court order that is telling us to lift Title 42, and we're going to comply because we follow the rule of law.
But the administration sought to lift
it. But it is a court order.
But that started by you guys.
It was a court order that.
Our lead story of the day is Jacqui Heinrich of Fox News completely destroying Karine Jean-Pierre regarding Title 42. Folks, this is one you are not going to want to miss. Support us by hitting that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Thank you, Karine. El Paso's Democratic mayor has declared a state of emergency, and he said that he would only do that when he felt he could no longer keep his community or the asylum seekers safe. He's saying that that time is now ahead of Title 42 expiring. What is the White House response to that?
So look, we have, from day one, President Biden has taken steps to reduce disorderly migration while expanding legal pathways for orderly migration. We are in constant communication with the mayor of El Paso. And look, I've talked about the Venezuelan enforcement initiative that's helped drop the migration, which is, as you know, an initiative, by a drastic 90% drop. And we're going to continue to do that work. Look, we're surging resources to the border. We're going to continue to do the work that is needed. We saw from the graphs what that looked like, what the resources were. We're going to ask for the additional funding, the $3.5 billion additional funding requests from Congress, and we want to make sure that we're really truly addressing this challenge. Again, the 23,000.
It's still just a challenge, you guys. It's not a crisis. We've heard this messaging for literally 2 years. Before it was from Jen Psaki, her predecessor. Now it's coming from her mouth too, as well as the vice president and the president of the United States. It's just a challenge. It's not a crisis. We've seen the tape of what is going on at the southern border, folks. This is a crisis, absolute chaos down there. And for those that are listening, there's about 3 bullet points that the White House wants to help kind of solve the issue of what's going on at the southern border. None of those 6 things are going to stop the massive immigration crisis that is going on down there. They're asking for $3.5 billion to help stop what's going on down there, none of which they're proposing actually stops it. I would just want to point that out here because you're going to hear it talk about this time and time again. Blah, blah, blah. If the Republicans are serious about this, if they're serious about that, yada, yada, yada. But let's continue here with the shenanigans coming from the White House.
Agents that we're currently seeing at the border, that is because of the work that this president has done. And these are, this is a historic number of agents that we see at the border. Again, we're going to continue to ask for additional funding from Congress to assist us in dealing with this challenge at this time.
The resources, though, that you'd laid out at the top, specifically in El Paso, there's video that was just released by one Republican member of Congress to show that it's really not making a difference. There was one border patrol facility on Friday. He says there are 4,600 migrants in that facility. Its capacity is 1,040. And we're still, Title 42 is still in place they're at 4 times their capacity right now. So is the view that this is working, that those resources are working, that you guys have said are from the work of this president, is that sufficient? Is it working?
I mean, we're asking for $3.5 billion in additional funding to help us, right, with the challenges that we're seeing. So if congressional Republicans are serious about this, serious about dealing with the challenges that we're currently seeing, then they would assist in helping, making sure the men and the women of the DHS has the resources that they need. In the meantime, the Department of Homeland Security is surging resources to the border and have additional robust planning efforts underway. And so, again, we're asking for additional funding. We are surging resources. But if they truly, truly want to assist, instead of doing political ploys like they have been for the past several months, they will, adhere to our funding request that we've put forward.
A little bit to Ed's question, though, this push from the podium to get Republicans to send more resources to the border. A lot of them say that, they hesitate to throw more money at a problem the Homeland Security Secretary saying that the border is secure, and some of the people who'd have to vote on that bill also don't have a lot of details on what's in it and where that money goes. But all that aside, if you're saying that Republicans aren't doing the work to get this done, and then you have someone like Joe Manchin saying, well, the president has the ability to ask for an extension, he should be asking for an extension because we're at this point where you've got a deadline and a crisis. Is that within the president's authority to do that?
So look, we remained under a court order to lift Title 42. That is a court order. That is a court order that is telling us to lift Title 42, and we're going to comply because we follow the rule of law.
But the administration sought to lift
that
it.
is, but it is a court order.
But
that
started by you guys.
It was a court order that has been provided to us, and so now we have to comply, and that is we have to comply by December 21st.
Damn, Jacqui. Oh, God. She don't even know what to say right now. Damn, that follow-up, like, well, you guys kind of like put this in place, you're the ones that wanted this. Well, it's a court order. Well, yeah, but you guys are the ones that kind of put this whole order and process into place to remove Title 42, but now you're going, well, we gotta abide by it. Oh, well, we're just following the law here. But yeah, but you're the ones that wanted this in the first place, so you kind of wanted to implement this chaos that's happening that you're calling a challenge but not a crisis. Jacqui, phenomenal job here, girl. You're killing it.
It is a law
So
that has been
don't
put forth.
support lifting
What
Title
I'm saying
42?
is that it is a court order that has been presented to us that we are going to comply with. So you've asked a couple of questions, and I'm going to answer them if you give me a second. So in the funding request, the $3.5 billion, I've already listed them out. Happy to do them again. We want to scale up air and ground transportation capabilities to move migrants to processing to less crowded border patrol sectors and quickly remove them if they don't have a legal basis to remain. Set up an additional.
Did you guys hear that? Like I said, these things are pictured here. These are just 5 of them. There's a few more on the other screen. Don't do anything. You literally just heard her. She's asking for $3.5 billion. The White House is asking for $3.5 billion with a B to help scale up ground and air transportation capabilities. Not to fly these people back. No. To take them from one location to another inside the United States. It doesn't, you're literally just moving, you're kicking the can around. It's so frustrating because they're taxpayer dollars, it doesn't solve anything. I'm trying my best not to cuss here, but I want people to see that they're wasting our money on this. I'm not saying all this stuff is bad. The 23,000 agents is a good thing. Nearly 1,000 Border Patrol processing coordinators. That stuff is good and is needed, but you're not actually stopping the inflow. You're not stopping the actual gushing of blood that's flowing through here. You're just going, oh, well, we're just going to move one thing to another thing. Unbelievable. Let's let this knucklehead just continue here.
CBP holding facilities and speed up the processing time so individuals can have their asylum claims heard faster. Hire more than 300 additional agents to join our force of 23,000 agents working to secure the border. 23,000, that is historic. We've not seen that before. And again, that is because of the work that this president has done, giving historic fundings to the Department of Homeland Security. Secure additional technologies and equipment like automated processing system, law enforcement radios, upgraded surveillance and inspection technologies, and more. Increase support for border cities and towns like El Paso. So the $3.5 billion, there is a plan for it. There is a way forward in getting the resources that the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security need to do the work at the border. But what we have been hearing from Republicans and seeing from Republicans in Congress is political ploys. They're not assisting. They're not offering any assistance. Many of them are not. And so we are asking right now, if they are serious about this, they are serious about dealing with the challenges, then they would adhere to our funding request. And I want to be really careful. Again, look, Title 42 is going to be lifted. Yes, it will. But we are going to move to Title 8. The border is not open. And so I want to be very clear about that because we were doing the smuggler's job if we spread misinformation. And so, again, just want to be very clear about that, and so I'm going to move on.
Interesting how they want all this funding when we're told by Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary, that the border's secure. You've had Kamala Harris saying that she's been to the border even though she hadn't been to the border. You have all this foo-foo going on, blaming Republicans for not being serious about it. My question here is, if she's going to say that Republicans, if they're serious about it, they'll push it through, What is that saying about Democrats for the last 2 years? Were they not serious because you held all three branches of government, Karine? Why was it not pushed through then? If you're saying Joe Biden from day one was doing all this work and he's had legislation, immigration reform, whatever you want to word it as, since day one, why did not the Democrats push it through? It was my question behind the scenes to these reporters in the room, and I think some of them got the message because they are following up here. We're about to go to another reporter in our second segment that's actually following up going like, what's going on with Democrats then? You had it, okay? For 2 years, why didn't it get pushed through then? I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.